Picture this. It's January 1st, and millions of people around the world are making promises to themselves. They're going to lose weight, start that business, learn a new skill, or finally break free from patterns that have held them back for years. The gyms are packed, self-help books are flying off the shelves, and everyone feels that familiar surge of hope and determination. Fast forward 3 months. The gyms are empty again. The books gather dust. The business plans sit forgotten in desk drawers. And those same people are wondering what's wrong with them, why they can't stick to anything, why change feels so impossibly difficult. Here's what no one tells you. It's not your fault, and it's not about willpower, discipline, or finding the right strategy. The real reason you can't change runs so much deeper than any of that. It's wired into the very fabric of how your mind works, operating below the level of conscious awareness, sabotaging your best efforts before you even realize what's happening. Most people think personality is like a computer program that can be upgraded with new software. Download some new habits, install better routines, and voila, you're a new person. But that's not how consciousness actually works. Your personality isn't a collection of behaviors you can swap out like apps on a phone. It's more like the operating system itself, the fundamental framework that determines what's possible and what isn't. Imagine you're trying to run advanced graphics software on a computer from 1995. It doesn't matter how good the software is. The hardware simply can't handle it. The system will crash, freeze, or refuse to run the program altogether. That's exactly what happens when you try to implement changes that don't match your internal operating system. Your mind has what psychologists call a self-concept, an internal image of who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve. This isn't just a casual opinion about yourself. It's the deepest layer of your psychological architecture, and it acts like a thermostat for your entire life experience. Think about how a thermostat works. You set it to 72 degrees, and no matter what happens, whether you open windows, light a fire, or turn on air conditioning, the system will automatically adjust to maintain that temperature. If it gets too hot, cooling kicks in. If it gets too cold, heating activates. The thermostat doesn't think about it or make conscious decisions. It just maintains the set point. Your self-concept works exactly the same way. If your internal thermostat is set to, I'm someone who struggles with money, then every time you start making progress financially, something will happen to bring you back to struggle. You'll make an impulsive purchase, encounter an unexpected expense, or sabotage a promising opportunity. Not because you're weak or self-destructive, but because your psychological thermostat is doing exactly what it's designed to do. Maintain homeostasis. This happens completely outside conscious awareness. You don't wake up thinking, "Today I'm going to sabotage my success." Instead, you'll find yourself making decisions that feel perfectly logical in the moment, but consistently steer you back toward your programmed identity. You'll procrastinate on important tasks, pick fights with people who could help you, or convince yourself that opportunities aren't really right for you. But where does this internal thermostat setting come from? It's not something you consciously chose. Your self-concept was programmed during your most formative years, primarily between birth and age 7, when your brain was in a highly suggestible state, similar to hypnosis. During this period, you absorbed thousands of messages about who you are and what's possible for you. These messages came from everywhere: your family dynamics, cultural background, early experiences of success and failure, and the subtle ways people responded to you. If you grew up in a household where money was scarce and wealthy people were viewed with suspicion, your brain recorded the message that financial success is somehow dangerous or morally questionable. If you were repeatedly told you were too sensitive or not smart enough, those assessments became part of your core identity. The crucial point is that this programming happened before you had the cognitive ability to question or filter these messages. A 7-year-old doesn't think, "Well, that's just my father's opinion based on his own insecurities." They simply absorb it as truth about the nature of reality and their place in it. Here's where it gets really interesting. Your brain treats threats to your self-concept the same way it treats physical threats. When you start acting outside your programmed identity, your nervous system literally interprets this as danger. Stress hormones flood your system. Your heart rate increases. Your brain goes into emergency mode, desperately trying to return you to the familiar territory of your established identity. This is why positive change often feels so uncomfortable, even when you know it's good for you. Your body is experiencing identity expansion as a survival threat. The discomfort isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're bumping up against the boundaries of your current self-concept. Most people interpret this discomfort incorrectly. They think, "If this were really right for me, it would feel easier. This struggle must mean I'm not meant for this." So they retreat back to familiar patterns, not realizing they were actually on the verge of a breakthrough. The traditional approach to change focuses on behaviors, strategies, and willpower. It's like trying to override your thermostat by constantly adjusting the temperature manually. You might succeed temporarily, but the moment you stop paying attention, the system reverts to its programmed setting. Real change requires adjusting the thermostat itself. Instead of fighting your current identity, you need to create a new one. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about accessing parts of yourself that have been suppressed by outdated programming. Technical moment. If what you're hearing right now resonates with you, hit subscribe. This shows that the information is valuable. The process of identity transformation isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. Those surface-level interventions rarely work because they're trying to override deep programming with conscious thought. It's like putting a motivational poster over a crack in your foundation and expecting it to fix structural problems. Instead, you need to work at the level where identity actually lives, in the subconscious mind. This is where visualization, embodiment practices, and consistent action from your desired identity become powerful. When you repeatedly experience yourself as the person you want to become, your brain begins accepting this new version as real. Here's a practical approach. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, identify who you would need to be to naturally create those outcomes. If you want to be financially abundant, what kind of person effortlessly attracts wealth? How do they think about money? What beliefs do they hold about their own worthiness? How do they make decisions? Then you start embodying that identity before you have the external results. You make choices from that expanded self-concept. You think thoughts consistent with that identity. You act as if you already are that person, not as if you're trying to become them. Initially, this will feel like acting or pretending. Your old programming will resist fiercely, telling you you're being fake, delusional, or getting too big for your britches. This resistance is actually a good sign. It means you're pushing against the boundaries of your current identity. The key is consistency over perfection. Every decision is a vote for either your old identity or your new one. When you vote for your expanded self-concept more often than not, neural pathways begin shifting. What felt like acting gradually becomes natural. The internal thermostat slowly adjusts to accommodate your new way of being. You'll know the transformation is working when behaviors that used to require tremendous willpower start feeling effortless. When opportunities aligned with your new identity begin appearing more frequently. When what used to seem impossible starts feeling inevitable. But here's something crucial that most people miss. You can't think your way into a new identity. Identity transformation requires emotional conviction, not just intellectual understanding. You need to feel the truth of who you're becoming, not just think it. This is why visualization and mental rehearsal are so powerful when done correctly. When you vividly imagine yourself already embodying your desired identity, experiencing the emotions and sensations of that reality, your nervous system begins treating it as familiar rather than foreign. The brain doesn't distinguish clearly between vividly imagined experience and actual experience. When you repeatedly visualize yourself as confident, successful, or peaceful, you're literally rewiring neural pathways to support that identity. The more detailed and emotionally engaging these mental rehearsals, the more effectively they reprogram your self-concept. Another powerful tool is what psychologists call acting as if. This isn't about being fake or dishonest. It's about experimenting with different versions of yourself to see what feels authentic. When you act from your desired identity consistently, you begin gathering evidence that this version of you is real and possible. Most limitations aren't actually yours. They're inherited beliefs from family systems, cultural conditioning, and protective mechanisms that once served a purpose, but now restrict your growth. The person you're meant to be already exists within you. They've just been covered over by layers of programming that convinced you to play small. The real reason you can't change isn't that you're broken, weak, or lacking in some essential quality. It's that you've been trying to build a new life on an old foundation. When you change who you believe yourself to be at the deepest level, everything else naturally aligns. Behaviors flow from identity. Opportunities appear that match your new self-concept. Results manifest that confirm your expanded vision of what's possible. This isn't about becoming someone else entirely. It's about becoming who you authentically are beneath the layers of conditioning and limitation. The changes you want to make aren't foreign additions to your personality. They're expressions of your true nature that have been waiting for permission to emerge. The transformation begins the moment you realize that your current identity isn't fixed or permanent. It's simply the result of past programming, and programming can be changed. You have more power over who you become than you've been led to believe. If this content has opened something new in your understanding, write in the comments, "I am reprogramming." Write it as your declaration that you're ready to change at the level that actually creates lasting transformation, your fundamental sense of who you are. Nobody